Suara cobaan suara 1, 2, 3. Baik, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dalam slot pada petang ini, kita akan tengok kepada revision bagi STA104. So, kita akan buat soalan test 1 pada sesi Mac 2020 tahun lepas. Baik. Baik, kita terus kepada soalan. Right. So, for question 1, we have something like this. Okay. Okay. Alright. For each of the following situations, all right, question 1A, kita ada, you have to state whether the area of statistics is either descriptive or inferential, right? Descriptive or inferential. So you just need to define it, right? So is it descriptive or inferential, right? Which one is it? All right, so let's read. So you have to understand the definition of descriptive and inferential statistics. So refer back to your notes. So when you talk about descriptive, so it is about collecting, summarizing, and presenting the data, right? And usually it involves the charts, graph, tables of average, percentage, and so on. But inferential is about to make conclusion about the population from the sample. Okay. Right, so go back to the question. A study was done to determine whether the degrees of stress are different between, right? So we want to see the degree of stress are different between male and female teachers. So does it involve the chart? All right. So we want to make conclusion here, right? All right. So this is actually inferential. Okay. So this is actually inferential. Okay. So the second one would be the statistics department has released a survey report in 2018, stating that salaries in urban higher at an average. All right, so we talk about average here. So of course, it is about the descriptive statistics. So this is descriptive statistics. Descriptive. Okay, right. So we are done. So you got 2 marks here. Very easy. Right. So question B, identify whether the following statement represent a census of or a sample survey. So you have to understand between the difference between the census and a sample survey. Right. So for the census, right. So let's go to this. All right. So if we read here, the census is actually a study which is conducted on every item of population, right? Study that is conducted on every item of the population. But the sample survey is the study on the sample of population, right? Study on the sample of population, a part of the population, which is subset, all right? Sample is a subset of the population, all right? So let's read the question carefully. A lecturer wants to determine the monthly expenses of students enrolled in an art and design course this semester. There are 2 groups, namely Group A and Group B. So the lecturer decides to obtain the monthly expenses of each student in the 2 groups, right? Each students in the 2 groups. So because there are only 2 groups and each students are involved in the survey. So of course, this one is a census because it involves the population, right? And the second question will be 800 academic staffs in a college are divided into groups according to their academic ranks, such as tutor, lecturer, and professor. Several of them are selected. Several of them, not all, several of them are selected from each group by a researcher to explore the relationship between the, right? Only several of them are selected. So this one would be the sample survey. So please write your answer. This one is sample survey, right? You score another 2 marks, right? So it's very, very easy, right? Okay, so let's go to the next one. Question C. Usually when you go to this question, to read the question carefully, a researcher wants to investigate the well-being of homeless people during the movement control order. So we want to investigate the well-being of homeless during the movement control order that were rescued from the streets and placed at a shelter in town X, right? So there are 2,000 homeless people, right? And only 400 will be chosen, all right? So state the population and sample for this study, all right? So when you write these, right? So population, okay, all right. population, right? So state the population in the sample, all right? And sorry, population would be the 200 homeless, right? So 2,000 homeless, right? 2,000 homeless, okay? People, all, ataupun you put it all, right? All 2,000 homeless people, where, all right? Where? In shelter X, okay? In shelter, sorry, in town X, sorry, in town X, right? Uh, you have to specify which town are the homeless from, right? So in town X. So in town X. Okay. So now, this sample will be 400 selected. Okay, because we only select 400 to be the respondent. 400 selected homeless people, okay, from town X. Okay, so this is the population and the sample. All right. So give one example of a variable of interest for the above study. So the question asks you to give the one example. Read carefully. All right. If the question asks you write the variable. So this is the variable, the well-being of homeless people. That is the variable. But now the question asks you one example of the variable. So what is the example of well-being of homeless people in this case? All right. So you want to see the, all right. So we want to look at this well-being of these homeless people. All right. So what should it be? All right. So because the question asks you okay, that is categorized as qualitative variable. So be careful, qualitative variable, right? Qualitative variable, well-being of the homeless people, right? So bila kita nak tengok well-being orang ini, kita boleh tanya macam-macam alright? So tapi janganlah ambil berat. Kenapa berat bukan kualitatif dekat sini? Okay? So maybe you can ask about their okay, rescued, all right? So because this is homeless people that rescued during control order, so maybe you can ask about their stress level. And all right, stress level. Okay, stress level. Okay, so this one is the qualitative variable. Okay, okay. So this is one example. You can give your logic answers as long as it fits this well-being of homeless people that is considered as qualitative variable. Okay. Next question. Okay, the question asks you. Okay. Oh. Okay. Apa ni? Masya Allah. Okay, the question asks you give one example of variable of interest. One example of variable of interest categorized as a ratio scale. Ratio. So let's go back to the scale. Right? If you remember, ratio, which one is the ratio? Okay. All right. So the ratio, for example, we have height, weight, mass, temperature. So we can ask their weight in this case. Alright. Kita nak tengok well-being dia ni, kita boleh minta berat lah. Alright. So we can say weight. Okay. Weight of homeless people. Okay. Stress level. Okay. Something like this. Right. So let's go to right. Let me check the answer first. So I have to stop sharing. All right, because I have the set of answer here. All right, let me check. Mm, yes. Of status frequency of ident. Okay. Well, bingan. All right. Okay. Other answers in the what do we call in the provided in the answer scheme for the last year is the okay the okay stress level. Other than that, they ask about health status, kan? Sihat ke tak? Health status, right? Hmm. And this one, because ratio scales which can be measured on ratio scales, for example, number of meals taken, right? Hmm. So these are all the well-being of the homeless. Okay, number of meals taken a day, daily. All right, something like this. All right. So this can be the answer. You have to give the example, right? You don't give the example, then I cannot give you marks. Right, suggest one possible sampling technique to choose 400 homeless people if the researcher manages to obtain a list of all homeless people's names. So when you have the list name, so you have to use the probabilistic 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 sampling. So there are five types under sorry, five what do we call five techniques, right? Five techniques under let's go to probability sampling, right? So you when you want to talk about the probability sampling, right? So you have, all right, this is the definition of sampling itself, all right? So it's a random sample, simple random, stratified, systematic, cluster, and multi-stage. So in this case, right, which one is suitable? Because you already have 2,000 people there. You want to select only 400 of them. So maybe you can use the systematic, right? Systematic. For example, you use the systematic. Kita nak pilih 400 daripada 2,000, right? So macam mana systematic sampling, ataupun you can choose the simple random. Simple random lah paling senang kan, right? Simple random sampling lah. Simple random sampling. Right. Macam mana nak buat simple random ini? Okay. Select. Okay, briefly select. Okay, briefly how to select the sample using the sampling technique. You have 3 marks. You have to give 3 points here, right? So give one reason for using this technique. Okay, kenapa nak guna itu, right? So because it is the easiest. Okay, maybe the easiest ataupun the convenient one, the easiest method. Alright, the easiest method. Ataupun you give the advantage of simple random, which is everyone, okay, everyone in the population, kan? Okay, kalau dalam bila kita guna simple random, everyone in the population has, okay, everyone in the population has equal chance, okay, of being selected. Okay, semua orang ada hak yang sama rata untuk menjadi responden. Okay, that is the reason. Alright. So explains briefly how to select sample using sampling technique suggested. Nak guna simple random ni macam mana? Alright. So let's go to here. So firstly, what you have to do is, alright, give numbering. Give numbering to, okay, give numbering to 2,000. Allah Akbar. Why is this laptop like this? Okay, 2,000 homeless people. Kita numberkan dia. Lepas tu kita buat apa? Alright, you have to use lottery method or random number table. So in this case, refer back to your notes. Alright. So when you deal with simple random, when the population, so you have to use the random number table. So in the random number table, alright, so use Allah Akbar, random. Okay, use random number table. Random number table. Okay, to choose. Okay, 400 people. Okay, so what needs to be what needs to be done next is to, right? So call ataupun call meet. Okay, how the sample is in, okay, sampling suggested, all right, how to select the sample. Okay, give numbering, right? Use random number table. Another point should be, Allah, but I also forget. Hmm. Hmm. So we will choose this. Okay. Hmm. One at a time. Okay. I just explain lah how to choose the 400, right? All right. So um choose one person at a time. Okay, one person at a time. MashaAllah. Why? Okay, something like this lah. Okay. So next, for the above study, right? So for the above study, state the most appropriate data collection method. So we want to collect the data. So what is the most appropriate data collection method? So macam mana nak buat data collection method Kalau tahun lepas tu saya terima macam-macam lah. Hantar Google Form. What do you expect from the homeless people to you nak suruh mereka jawab survey ke kan? Ambil apa nama? Google Form. Tak boleh kan? Now they are being centered at the center for shelter ni. Okay. So you have to go, alright? Ask someone there, right? Okay, state the most appropriate method. In this case, you have to do like um, okay, mari kita tengok data collection method ada apa. Okay, kena fikir logik lah. Data collection method. It's either face-to-face interview. Okay, mail interview ni memang tak logik lah, right? Kalau jawapan dia direct interview lah. Alright. So we can do direct interview. Tapi make sure jaga SOP lah kan. Sebab ini adalah during MCO kan. Right. So direct interview. Okay. Okay. So you have direct interview here. Alright. So the direct interview. Alright. Why? Give advantage. Alright. So the okay. Bila kita buat face to face interview ni, we can note, right? Anything, or we can uh, declare ataupun clarify, okay, anything from the respondents. And of course, response rate tinggi lah bila kita buat face to face ni kan, okay? So you can do this, right? So give your logic answer lah for advantage. Baik, let's go to question number 2. The data below shows the number of face masks sold daily for 16 days at Rakyat Pharmacy. Calculate the measure of central tendency. What does the question want you to do? To measure central tendency, so you have mean, median, and mode. Data ada dua jenis. Data group data dan ungroup data. So what about this one? This one is ungroup data, right? Ungroup data pula boleh dipecahkan kepada ungroup data with frequency dan ungroup data without frequency. What about this one? Ungroup data without frequency kan? Right. So when you have ungroup data without frequency in this case, so apa yang apa nama ni? You perlu buat ialah you susun terlebih dahulu. So you have to rearrange the data. So the smallest number in this case is 27. 27. After that is 30. Alright. And then 32. I hate this. Why? Lepas 32. Lepas 32. Okay. 40. Dah tanda, dah tulis tanda. 40. Lepas 40, 43. Kan? 43. Lepas 43, 44. Lepas 44, 40, 46. Susun ikut turutan lah. Right? Ascending order. Descending order to you lah. 48 dah. Okay, now 50. 50, 50. 65 ada 2. And then you have the 59. After 59, 60 ada 2. Then you have this 65 and 150. Okay. So you ada ni data ada 16 kira lah, ada 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16. Cukup. Make sure cukup dan betul. Baik. After what you have this, you can calculate the mean, right? So to calculate the mean, so firstly the mean, apa yang perlu buat ialah you perlu tambah semua and then bahagi dengan nilai dia adalah n-nya adalah 16. Tunjuklah jalan kerja. Tunjuk 27 tambah 30 tambah 32 tambah 40 tambah 43 plus with 44 plus with 46 plus with 48 plus with 50. Tak tunjuk jalan kerja yang ini, tak ada markah. Okay, 55 plus 55 plus 59 plus 60 plus 16 plus 65 plus 150. After you do this with 16. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to calculate this. Okay, saya ni gelap tak nampak sini. Okay, 27 tambah 30 tambah 32 tambah 40 tambah 43 tambah 44 tambah 48 48 50 tambah 55 tambah 55 tambah 59 tambah 60 tambah 60 tambah 65 tambah 150. So you will have 864. 864 bahagi dengan 16. Okay. 864 bahagi dengan 16, you dapat 54. So in this case, mean-nya adalah 54. So that is the average number. Okay. Yang kedua, what you have to find is the median ataupun mode. Okay, kalau mode, in this case, mode-nya adalah yang paling banyak kekerapannya kan. In this case, kita boleh tengok kekerapan paling banyak ialah dekat sini. 55 dengan, Okay, kekerapan paling banyaknya adalah 55, 55, 60, 60. Yang lain tak kan? Right? Yang lain tak, I guess no. Alright, so in this case ada dua mode because mode can be more than one answer, can be no mode. Okay, so 55 dengan 60 ada dua jawapan lah. Tulis dua-dua. Alright. So next one is the median. So to find the median, so you have to find the position of median terlebih dahulu. Position for median, right? Formulanya adalah n plus divided by 2. N-nya adalah 16, 1 bahagi 2. So dalam kes ini dapat 8.5. Maksudnya pada kedudukan ke-8 dan kedudukan ke-9. So your data yang dah disusun, pertama, kedua, ketiga, keempat, kelima, keenam, ketujuh, ke-8. This one ke-9. So antara dua ini. Okay. So you have the median. That one is position median. So mediannya adalah, right. Median ni adalah 48. Allahu Akbar. Why? Oh, saya dah tulis cantik kan, tapi laptop ni problem. 48 tambah dengan 50 bahagi 2. Okay. 40, 90, median. So yang ada di sini. Right. So nak measure center tendency 3 benda tu. Baik, seterusnya. Okay. Baik, seterusnya. By comparing the obtained one, identify, okay, the best measurement to be used by central tendency for the above data. Okay. Kita kena tengok, okay, nilai mana yang the best, okay, for the above data, best measurement for the central tendency. Kita kena cari the best measurement, okay. You tengok dekat sini, okay. So dekat mana? You bagilah, rasa mode mungkin tak sesuai lah sebab ada dua nilai dekat sini, right? So the best maybe you can say the mean. Okay, mean. Alright. Kenapa? Right? So, okay, let's go. Right? So I give jawapan dulu. The best measurement for central tendency will be, in this case adalah mean. Why? Give two reasons. Okay, bagilah advantages of mean. Alright, in this case mean. Alright, kalau kita tengok mean, pengiraan dia whole data, semua nombor yang dalam data itu terlibat. So, okay, pertama, okay, all the data, right, semua data itu are involved in the calculation, termasuk dalam pengiraan kan. So maka dia lebih tepat, making it more reliable, boleh dipercayai lah, something like this. Yang kedua, kenapa nak kena guna mean? Alright, paling mudah, tambah bahagia, easiest, okay, easiest method for calculation. Kalau you ada jawapan lain, you bagi, okay, you can check back in your book, alright. Okay, soalan ketiga, if 75% of number of face masuk daily was less than W, find the value of W. Sebenarnya nak Q1 ke Q3 ni. Alright. Sebenarnya kita baca balik kita punya chart. Katakanlah kita ada dekat sini. Alright. Suppose Q2 adalah median kan. Alright. Q2 median. So this one is Q1. Okay. Kalau let's say this is Q1. And this is Q3. Okay. This one is Q3. Allah Akbar. Q3. Dia kata 70% of the number of face masuk less, maksudnya 75 less than W. Dekat mana W? Okay. 75 less than W. Which one? Alright. Katakanlah kita katakanlah dekat sini. Okay. Kalau you kata dekat sini. Okay. Katakanlah you kata sini W. So mana less than W? Of course this one. Sampai 75%? Tak sampai. Right? Tak sampai. W kan ni kan? W less you 50% baru kan. So which one you kat sini? This is you dekat 3, right? So this is W less than W. Nampak tak kawasan tu? Okay, 75% pada kawasan tu. Alright, so sebenarnya W ni ialah Q3. So sebenarnya W ni nama lagi third quartile. And the value of W. Dah ada lah jawapan. Third quartile kena sebut. Alright, kena sebut sebab dia kata hence name the value third quartile. So now you have to find the third quartile. How to find the third, right? So firstly you have to find the position, right? Position, biarlah dia macam tu. Q3, okay, 3m plus 1 divided by 4. Dalam kes ini n-nya adalah 16 tadi kan. Alright, 3 16 1 bagi 4. Okay, 3 16 tambah 1 bagi 4. You pun kira lah guna calculator. 3 darab 17 bagi 4. Dapat 12.75. 12.75. Meaning to say that when you want to calculate your QP ataupun W here, alright, okay, you kembali pergi kepada kedudukan ke-12 terlebih dahulu. You go back to the data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is kedudukan ke-12. So ianya adalah 59. Tertambah dengan 0.25. Okay, belakang dia adalah 60, kita tolak 59. 60 tolak 59. Okay. Right, so you will have something like 69. Of course, satu kan darab dengan 0.75. So jawapannya adalah 59.75. That is W. Okay. So firstly you have to find position, you have to find the QW, and then you have to name the W third quartile. Right, now we have this one. The table below shows the frequency distribution time span online learning. Okay, so okay, please take note lah. Pertama sekali, when you have this group data, you have to note whether it is actually what do we call it, class limit or class interval. Okay. Sorry, class boundary ke class limit. In this case, 19 patut tak bertindak dengan 20. So this is actually class um, class, what do you call? Class class limit. Class limit, okay? So you have to find class boundary, kan? So pertama sekali when you have this type of questions, you have to build this table. You buat dulu lah. Table dia aku letak lah. Okay. So you ada boundary, interval, which is class interval lah. Alright. Interval. And then you have the, what do we call it? Frequency. And then maybe you have cumulative. Oh my God. Why? Memang cabaran lah buat live kali ni. Cumulative frequency. Right. Cumulative frequency. Selepas itu kita boleh tulis class size lah. Size. Class. Oh, sabar je lah biarlah dia begitu. So class boundary-nya, okay, intervalnya adalah 10 hingga 19. Okay. You buat cantik-cantik lah saya tak boleh nak buat ni. Okay, something like this lah. Okay, saya tak nak buat dekat situ lah sebab tak cantik. Saya rasa dekat problem bawah yang problem So saya buat class boundary dia 9.5. Alright, dekat sini 9.5. Oh, dekat sini pun problem juga. Main-main dengan saya 9.5. Okay, 9.5. Inilah cabaran menggunakan teknologi ni. 19. Tadi okey. 19.5. 29.5. Macam saya dapat ni antara 29 dengan 30. Apa nombornya? 29.5 lah. 39.5, 49.5, 59.5, 69.5. So this is the upper boundary kan, right? So this one 19.5, 25, 45 dan 59.5, something like this. This is the frequency, so you have to find the cumulative frequency. So macam mana nak cari cumulative frequency? Okay, cumulative frequency. Saya stop sharing sekejap ya. Mungkin dia ada masalah bila sharing ni. Alright, sekejap. Okay, alright. Okay, so kita start dengan 2. 2 tambah 9 jadi 11. 11 tambah 25 jadi 36. 36 jadi 76. 76 tambah 19 jadi 95. 95 tambah 5 adalah 100. 100 adalah tambah yang bawah sekali ni kan, right? Okay, 100, 100. Right, so class size ialah you ambil upper boundary tolak, okay, class size. 19.5 tolak 9.5, itu 10. Sebenarnya 10 lah. Dalam ni, okay, bolehlah semua 10. Okay, something like this. 10 ni, 10 gegang lah. Main-main dengan saya ni. So this is your data, you kena buat table ini. Soalan seterusnya, calculate the average and standard deviation for of the total time spent on learning. So when you want to do the average and standard deviation in this case, you kena buat table yang mengandungi dia punya midpoint dan juga midpoint. Okay, kita go back to this. Kalau lupa lah kan, alright, kita tengok balik kepada average tak ada masalah. Saya nak tengok ada standard deviation. Center tendency tak nak. Standard deviation, measures of dispersion kan, alright. Tendency. Baik, ini je ke? Okay, dispersion. Okay, go back to these notes. Sekejap kita tengok chapter 2 lagi. Tapi kita bawa measures of dispersion. Oh, sorry. Kena tengok dekat sini lah. Notes. Okay. Kita tengok measures of dispersion ni lah. Right. This one. Alright. So bila kita nak kira kita punya apa nama standard deviation tu apa yang diperlukan untuk ungroup data, untuk group data. We are talking about group data now. Okay. For the group data, so the standard deviation, apa yang perlu ada dalam standard deviation adalah, okay, this one is dispersion. Okay. Saya nak kira S sekarang ni. Kat dalam mana dia? Oh, bukan dalam ini. Sorry. Measures of dispersion bukan. Measures of... Dekat mana dia Saya pun lupa dah ni. Chapter 2. Position ke? Measures of skewness kot. Kita tengok. Measures of skewness sekejap. Bukan. Measures of dispersion. Tapi mungkin dalam dua bahagian kot. Measures of dispersion. Bawah sikit, sorry. Okay, we want to talk about the group data now. Saya kena ingat lah for group data ni. Baik. This one. So yang diperlukan adalah midpoint dan frekuensi. Kena ingat, midpoint dan frekuensi. Right, so calculate the average and standard deviation. So you have to build the table for midpoint dan juga frekuensi sahaja. Okay, mari kita buat. Ada midpoint, ada frekuensi. Allah, tak jadi benda situ. Midpoint. Midpoint dan frekuensi. Tabah je lah tak faham benda pun. Midpoint dan frekuensi. Okay. So midpointnya adalah data bagi 10 19 bahagi 2. Okay. 10 tambah 19 bahagi 2. Dia dapat 14.5. Sebenarnya semua ni 4.5 lah. 14.5. Okay. So the first one. Okay. 14.5. Saya nak buat macam mana? Dengan benda ni. 14.5. Okay. 24.5. 34.5. 44.5. 54.5. 64.5. Kan? Okay, something like this. Dengan 64.5 saja. 29, 25, 40. 29, 25, 40. 29, 25, 40. 29, 25, 40. 19.5. Okay? 19.5. Okay? Alright. So, you apa nama? Disebabkan dalam calculation for average, dekat ni saya nak cari total. Dekat bawah ni saya nak cari total. Sini total kita tahulah. Total yang ini adalah 100. Okay. Alright. So, this one midpoint kita darab dengan frekuensi. Okay. Kita darab. 14.5 kita darab 2. Kita darab terus. 14.5 kita darab 2. Kita dapat 29. Lepas tu kita ada 24.5 kita darab dengan 9. Kan? Kita dapat 220.5. Tengok pen pula dah jadi. Oh, hilang tegur. Okay, 22.5. Next, 34.5 darab 25. 862. Membesar dugaan saya hari ni 862.5. 44.5 darab 40. Okay, darab 40. 1780. 1780. Nak tulis angkat. Sedih betul. 44.5 darab 19. So 1035.5. 1035.5. Baik, next one adalah 64.5 darab 5. So kita dapat 322.5. Next, apalah saya buat ialah saya nak cari total ke sebawah semua. 29 tambah 22.5 tambah 862.5 tambah 1780 tambah 1035.5 dan tambah 322.5. Saya harap betul lah. Kalau ada salah ni saya minta maaf lah. 4052. 4052. 4052. So this is your midpoint times your frequency. Average, kita tahu dalam formula. Nanti kena tunjuk table ni baru boleh dapat markah. So average, the formula is the summation of fx over summation of f. In this case, x ni adalah midpoint. Kita dah darab lah f dengan midpoint ni. Okay, f darab x. So summation of fx is here. So we already calculate it is to be 4052 divided with summation of f. Okay, summation of f in this case-nya adalah summation of f 100. Okay, bahagi 100. So, you dapatlah 40.52. Right, for standard deviation, S, mula-mula kita cari S square dululah, variance. Okay, variance adalah, tengok formula variance. Okay, ada dekat dalam list of formula lah nanti. Okay, right. Formula for variance-nya adalah, nak tunjuk formula pula. Mana formula dia ni? Ha ni. 1 over n minus 1. Sorry. 1 over n minus 1. Summation of fx square. Tertolak dengan game. Summation of fx. Kita squarekan dia over n. Then, accept this. This is the formula. Mana? Okay. Fs. We are lacking of the x square kan, fx square. You cari lah, ataupun you nak buat table untuk x square pun boleh. Okay, x square tu adalah midpoint lah, you squarekan dia. Right, kalau malas cari dekat bawah ni. Alright, you cari dekat bawah. So summation of fx square, meaning to say that you have to square the midpoint. You darab lah 12 darab 14.5 square tambah 9 darab 24.5 square tambah 25 darab dengan 34.5 square tambah Allah 40 darab dengan 45 square tambah 19 darab dengan apa macam ni pula ni. Saya nak geram sungguh lah. Tension selalu kalau gini. Hei. 40 apa ni? Okay, sorry ya. Alright. Okay. Apa nama tadi? 44.5 square dah. 19 darab dengan 54.5 square. Kita tambah dengan 5 darab 64.5 square. Okay, kita cari nilai ya. Kena guna calculator. Kalau ada Excel, square tambah 9 darab 24.5 square tambah 25 34.5 square tambah 40 44.5 square tambah 19 54.5 square tambah 5 64.5 square. Alright, so you dapat 1920. Harap betul lah nilai ni kan. 1920. Allah Akbar. 1920 25. Okay, ini yang saya dapat lah. Alright, so apa you perlu buat ialah you perlu masukkan dalam formula for variance ini dahulu. Ingat standard deviation. Aduh. Okay, so masukkan n nya adalah 100 tolak 1. Summation of fx square adalah 192025. Saya harap betul kalau salah saya minta maaf lah. Tapi lebih kurangnya idenya begini. Alright, so summation of fx sebab 0,2 kita squarekan dia, kita bahagi dengan 10. Okay. Okay, so now kita akan dapat, please ambil 4 tempat perpuluhan Alright. So 025 tolak dengan 4052. Kita squarekan dia bahagi dengan 10. Baik. Negatif pula dah. 4052 square berapa? Masya Allah, besar kan nombor ni. 19 darab 54.5. 1035.5 betul dah ni. Saya kena check balik 2 darab 14.5. 29. 9 darab 24.5. 220. Oh, 220 point. Macam ni. 9 darab 24, 220.5 situ. Memang ngarut kan. Gelap. Kau lampu baru nampak. Allah Akbar. 220.5. 25 darab 34.5. 862.5. Okay. 45. 1780. 19. 1035.5. 5 darab 64.5. 322.5. Okay, tambah. 29 tambah 220.5. Tambah 862.5. Tambah 1780. Tambah 1035.5. Tambah 322.5. 4250. Okay, 4250. Sini 4250. So sini adalah 42.5 lah. Ini square. Alright. Um, 2025 betul tak? 4250 square bahagi dengan 10. Negatif. Maksudnya dia relatif macam ni. 12. Alright. 214.5 square. Tambah. Saya ni letih dah ni. Tak makan tengah hari ke ni. 24.5 square. Tambah 25, 34.5 square. 44.5 square. Tambah 19, 54.5 square. Tambah 5, 64.5 square. Dapatlah 19, 2025. Betul dah ni. Apa silap lagi ni? Give up saya. Give up kalau macam ni. Alright. Lagi kita tengok skema sikit. Hmm. Oh sorry. 100. That's why kena hati-hati. Careless mistake sikit je. Letih. Okey, 19, 2025. Kita tolak dengan 4250 square bahagi 100. Okey. Terdarab dengan 1/99 tadi. So dapatlah 115. Okey, 115.1515. Ambillah 4 tempat perpuluhan. 4 puluhan. 5. So to find S, you have to find the square root of 115.1515. Okay, ambillah square root dia, you akan dapat 10.7309. 10.7309. Okay, so this is the answer lah for standard deviation. Dapat like this. You have to show square lah. Nak menggunakan table pun boleh. Cari x square dan fx square. Baik, the last one, last part lah. Okay. Majority of students spend Y minutes. Majority of students. Kena faham apa ayat majority of students. Most of the students. Most of the students mean mod lah. Alright. Mod adalah spend Y minutes. On the estimate the value of Y by using suitable graphical technique. To find mode using Y. Okay. Nak mencari mode menggunakan graph. You kena ingat. You have to find mode using graph apa? In this case, yang adalah histogram. Kalau nak cari mode, kita kena guna histogram. Okay. Kalau you nak cari apa nama Q1, Q2, Q3, you kena guna apa nama OGIF, right? OGIF. Right. So you want to build the histogram in this case lah. Alright. Okay, kita nak buat histogram untuk one. Boleh? Kita buat histogram. Okay. Kita ada group ini, kita kena guna dia punya class boundary. Okay, 9.5, 19.5. So apa you perlu buat ialah you perlu lukis you punya paksi terlebih dahulu. Saya harap nampak lah. Okay. Menggunakan paksi ini. Right. Pada paksi Y-nya adalah frekuensi. Right. Pada paksi Y-nya adalah frekuensi. Tolong garis betul-betul. Right. Okay. Okay. Sama orang here lah kot. Saya rasa. Okay. Okay. Alright. Yang ini kita biasanya kita akan buat macam gitulah kan. Z, 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 Z tu kan. Right. Oh, saya pula tak melukis dekat sini. Okay. Kita ceritalah ni students number of. Saya nak cepat ni Alright. So this one is the uh, um, we are talking about soalannya apa? And the distribution of. Saya tak nak ni. Apa ada. Masya Allah. Tension betul. Distribution of learning time. So this is learning time. Okay. So you start dengan 9.5, 19.5, 29.5, 39.5, 49.5, 59.5 dan 69.5. So your distribution of frequency you kena tengok betul-betul right? So tengok paling tingginya adalah 40. So you kena estimate betul-betul you punya ni you nak guna berapa. 5, 10, 15, 20, 35, 40 pun boleh Lebih tepat lah kot saya rasa 5, 10, 15, 20, okay. 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, something like this lah. Tulis baik-baik. So for the first one kita ada okay 2925. 2925. Kita tengok baik-baik alright. So ada 20 petak dekat situ. Kalau nak 2 je berapa? Okay. 20 petak bersamaan dengan 5. Okay, 5 maksudnya 20 petak. So kalau 1, 20 bagi 5, 4. So kalau 2, 8 petak. So you kena kira 8 petak lah. Okay. 8 petaknya around there. Okay. Dekat situ lebih kurangnya begitu. Okay. So you pun buatlah you punya baca ni kan. Alright, sekarang ini saya nak tengok. Okay. Berapa tadi? Naik atas lalu. 2925. 2925. 29. Okay, 9 is somewhere around here. Okay. 9 is somewhere around here. Betul lah ni. Saya tak nampak sangat ni. Ini sebenarnya 25. Okay, 25 tanda lah terus. Dekat sini. Okay, something like this. You buat betul-betul lah. Alright. Jangan lupa dekat you punya histogram. Perlu guna pembaris Saya nak ni. Alright, guna pembaris. Alright. 40, 19, 5. 40, 19, 5. 40, 19, 5. 40. Oh, 40. 40, 19, 5. 19 somewhere around here. Okay, something like this. So you letak tajuk lah. Title jangan lupa. Title jangan lupa. So what should be done next is to connect the apa nama dekat you punya paling banyak ni mode ni adalah dekat situ kan. So you have to connect. Okay, kena sambungkan titik ni. Sambungkan dia. Sambung putus-putus Sambung putus-putus. Something like this. Sebab tu you sambung yang ini pula. Alright, so this is the intersection will be the mode lah. Okay, intersection will be the mode. Biasa range of answer ni ada banyak lah. So you biasanya kena tepat lah. Okay. Sambung. You sambung yang intersection tu dekat situ. Okay. Okay. make sure dia intersect dekat situ kan. Alright. Sambunglah titiknya. Sambung ke bawah, lepas tu baca berapa nilai dia. Kan? Something like this. Okay. So you can now read this. Okay. Ada. Okay. Beza dekat sini 10 petak. Sorry. 10 ke? 20 petak. Siapa tahu saya kertas graf saya ni macam lain sikit je. Kan? 20 petak dekat situ. Bila 20 petak bersama dengan 10, so kalau satu petak, apa saya ni? Kalau satu bersamaan dengan 2 petak lah. Kan? Right. Satu bersama 2 petak. So sekarang ini kita bertambah sebanyak 5, 6. Okay. Sini dah 6, 7, 8. 8 maksudnya 4 lah. 8 petak bersamaan dengan 8 petak bersama dengan 4. So tambah 4. 39.5 tambah 4. Okay. So your mode. Apa nama tadi? Mode kan? Right. So Y ni adalah 39.5 kita tambah dengan 4. Dapatlah 43.5. Okay, the mean and variance. Okay, last question. So this is mean and variance. Okay, meannya adalah ni dan variance-nya adalah ini. Using the appropriate determine date. Okay, which date has a more dispersed distribution? So kita kena kira mean dengan standard deviation yang sebelum ni kan. Alright. So you kena guna nama benda tu coefficient of variation. Okay, coefficient of variation. Formula of coefficient of variation, standard deviation over mean, darab 100. Okay. Coefficient of variation, standard deviation over mean. Okay, you kena ambil lah 0.7309. Okay. 10.7309 dibahagi dengan mean 42.5 tadi kan, didarab dengan 100. Dapat, okay, ni untuk yang data yang asal lah 10.7309 bahagi 42.5 darab 100. Dia dapat 25.25%. Right? So this one untuk data kita yang bertarikh pada soalan tu adalah 18 Mac. Okay, 18 Mac. This one for 18, okay, 18 Mac. But for this question yang diberi 19 Mac, okay, diberi, this one is variance kan, variance so kena cari standard deviation. So S nya adalah square root of 586.61. So square root of 586.61 ialah 24. Memang fail tu lah. 24.22. Okay. Alright. So 24.22. Alright. You nak cari CV-nya adalah 24.22. Kita bahagi dengan 55.29. Kita darab 100. Okay. So 24.22 bahagi 55.29. Kita darab 100. Kita dapat 43.81. 43.81%. So under which one has more dispersed distribution? Kalau more dispersed, dia mesti recall balik. Okay. Smaller CV, okay, less dispersed, more consistent. So kalau kita nak more dispersed, you have nilai CV yang tinggi. So mana lagi tinggi nilai CV yang ini ataupun yang ini? Yang the next one ni, okay? 22.5. Of course, pada 19 Mac kan? Alright, so kena jawab soalan. So which date has more dispersed? Okay. So of course, which date ni jawapannya adalah 19 Mac 2020. Kenapa? Sebab it has higher setakat saja dahulu. So I'm sorry for any inconvenience caused. Alright, that's all. Thank you. Mana saya punya? Nothing tak tahu.